Hi, all. Let's see how this works. Yeah, my name is Madeline Dillon Murray. I'm a senior at Tulane, and it's super weird to be here because that was my former professor. Kaylin has been a mentor of mine for like a year now, and I have a midterm after this. But I'm a senior at Tulane. I study computer science and psychology on the pre-med track, and I'm here because 2 years ago, my former lab partner from freshman biology at UChicago asked me to help him start a rapid diagnostics company with two of his fraternity brothers. And we did. So today, I'm going to tell you about how that happened and how we plan to revolutionize one of the largest and yet most outdated industries in the world. And it all starts about 10 years ago with a 12-year-old boy named Brendan, who one day stopped going to soccer practice and then stopped going to school, and in fact was spending most of his time at home in pain, and his doctors and parents had no idea what was going on. It was months before Brendan was finally diagnosed with Lyme disease. Now, this is my co-founder, Julian, and almost 10 years ago, after watching his childhood friends suffer for so long, he decided that he was going to find a solution. So, for those of you who don't know, Lyme disease is the most common vector-borne disease in the United States, and is passed to humans and animals by a tiny little blood-sucking insect called a tick. Now, if Lyme disease is caught early, it's very easily treated with a simple course of antibiotics. But the longer you go undiagnosed, the more likely you are to develop severe chronic symptoms. So, because of the lack of accessible testing, around 30% of Lyme patients end up experiencing a delayed diagnosis and suffering needlessly, just like Brendan. And so, my brilliant co-founder, Julian, at only 13 years old, convinces his parents to let him build a lab bench in their basement and invents the first ever truly at-home test for Lyme disease. The test is called Tick Test. It works by testing the tick itself with lateral flow technology similar to a COVID or pregnancy test. The idea was that now the 1 in 10 Americans who find a tick on themselves every year would be able to test immediately wherever they are at a much more affordable price point. Tick Test has been almost 10 years in the making, and by the end of middle school, Julian was applying for patents, and he fully received those patents at the start of his freshman year at UChicago, where he met me and the other co-founders. So after getting these patents, we knew that the next step was going to be finding an expert in the field. And it just so happened that I transferred from UChicago to Tulane, roll wave, where we found Dr. Monica Embers, one of the leading Lyme researchers in the world with a special interest in Lyme diagnostics. Lucky us. So we contacted Dr. Embers about a year ago, and in January of this year, we completed an independent lab validation of Tick Test. But there was still the question of getting Tick Test to market. How do you sell a product that no one's ever invented before? Well, our answer was, we don't sell it. We licensed Tick Test to a company called TickMit that has the most popular tick removal device on Amazon. We developed and validated the test. Now TickMit pays for all manufacturing, all marketing, and they utilize their international distribution network of pet and outdoor retail stores. We are on track for a market launch this August. By the way, anyone who gets a nice photo of me and sends it to me after this, I will send you a tick test for free come this August. And our hope is to get more people than ever tested and treated for Lyme disease early and completely change the way that this disease affects this country. But the problem is bigger than Lyme. Exactics is an at-home diagnostics company, and we're here to solve a systematic problem. Diagnostics remain inaccessible despite the proven success of at-home accessibility in the healthcare market. Diagnostics are the gateway to proper healthcare, and yet they're expensive. They range from $100 to $1,000 per diagnosis. They're time-consuming. They can take days to weeks just to get results, and we still require in-person visits to backed-up third-party labs and clinics. So, after successfully developing the Tick Test, we thought to ourselves, you know what, let's expand this lateral flow technology to other diseases. We're going to tackle this market gap starting with the biggest disease on the market, sexually transmitted diseases. And we started by making a lateral flow test for gonorrhea, and it did not work. It turns out that lateral flow technology is great for tick sampling, but with human sampling, it just wasn't sensitive enough. And it actually turns out that the popular Binax Now COVID test that you can buy at Walgreens, it's only about 84% accurate. That doesn't work with gonorrhea. You really want to be 100% sure. So 7 months ago, we went back to the drawing board and we laid out our assumptions for what people actually wanted in an at-home test, and we came up with 4 key factors. People need lab quality accuracy in diagnostics, but they want something they can afford over their counter. They want quick results, and most of all, they want at-home convenience and privacy. We basically came to the conclusion that the ideal at-home test would require shrinking down a professional-grade laboratory and moving it into the average person's bathroom. So we invented it. It's called AVA, and AVA is the first fully portable mini lab that allows you to test yourself at home and get treatment shipped right to your front door. The technology behind AVA is called isothermal amplification, which is a highly specific DNA detection method that is able to operate at a constant temperature, which eliminates the need for energy-intensive thermal cycling that traditional PCR requires. Basically, AVA works in 3 parts. First, the patient puts their sample into a disposable disease-specific cartridge that has primers to test for specific diseases. For example, our STD cartridge tests for chlamydia, gonorrhea, and trichomoniasis. Second, the patient puts the cartridge into the reader, which has a heating block and colorimetric sensors. The heating block facilitates the reactions within the cartridge assays at 65 degrees Celsius, and the colorimetric sensors scan the cartridge assays and send those results to the user app. That's the last component of AVA. And basically, the app processes this data and determines if a color change has taken place, i.e., if a reaction has taken place, which indicates a positive result. From there, the app can connect the users to telehealth options, and you can get the right treatment shipped to your front door. So with AVA, the entire pipeline from testing to diagnosis to treatment can be done by anyone, anywhere, even from home. So when we designed AVA, it sounded pretty cool to us, but we needed to make sure that people would actually use it and that doctors would actually prescribe with it. So first we spoke to doctors, and they said, yeah, diagnosis via DNA amplification, that is sound. As long as you have FDA clearance, we'll prescribe with it. Then, on the consumer side, we conducted over 400 interviews with college students from different universities, and we learned that everyone was getting frat flu, everyone was having unprotected sex, and everyone was really annoyed with their campus health centers, and they cited 3 main reasons: inconvenience, lack of privacy, and price barriers. So after this, we started to see that our initial target market for AVA was going to be college kids just like us who are buying AVA to test for STDs and strep and mono, basically diseases you want to test for ASAP because you want to get treatment ASAP. And these college students will grow into busy professionals with families, and our cartridge offerings will grow with them. And our earliest user can still use the same reader that they bought in college. So, where are we right now? Well, our prototype tests for gonorrhea and trichomoniasis, they run in under 12 minutes, and they have a limit of detection of 3 genome copies. That's twice as fast and around 20 times as sensitive as standard lab testing. Our MVP will be ready by the second quarter of 2027. We will then seek de novo clearance as a Class 2 medical device for the AVA reader and 510K clearance for each of the disease cartridges. We will bring our first 2 cartridges, one for STDs and one for strep mono, through a joint clinical trial, expected to cost around $50 million, starting in Q2 2027, and we will hopefully be hitting market by the end of 2028. Now, my 3 UChicago co-founders and I have been working tirelessly over the past 2 years while undergraduate students to make this happen. And in that time, we've gotten 2 patents, 1 more provisional patent, and even more pending. We've raised $1.5 million last year, and I hope to raise another $1 million before I graduate in a month. We fully developed and licensed our first product as a royalty engine, and we validated AVA's core technology. We do not do this alone. We have some of the best advisors in the business, including David Wells, former CFO of Netflix and current board member of Hims & Hers, an expert in the consumer market. Brian Kim, who founded Fortis Life Sciences and is the current CEO of Mission Bio. Fortis Life Sciences is one of the biggest diagnostic companies in the world. And Zubin Shroff, who's a managing partner at Galen Partners, one of the best healthcare private equity firms in New York City. He really helps us out with our financing. So, again, my name is Dylan Murray. I am a proud co-founder of Exactics, and we are here fighting for a future of diagnostics that is truly for everyone, everywhere, to change how healthcare works.
Questions for Dylan?
Great job, Dylan. Is it on? Yeah, okay. Great job, Dylan. I have a couple of technical questions that we can also just talk about afterwards too. But I'm curious, at least for the bacterial infections, are you guys targeting the 16S regions?
Oh, I am the wrong co-founder that asked that question too. But I can set up a call between you and Julian if you want to talk about that. The way I explain the test to investors is basically that there are regions that we cite in each disease that cause a reaction within the cartridge that changes color, and I understand it to that extent so that I don't accidentally give away information that I'm not supposed to.
Okay, cool. And then, do you guys plan? Do you plan to include any resistance genes in the detection, especially for gonorrhea?
Currently, that is actually a really good question that is also best asked to Julian. I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, we could talk more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good questions, though.
Kimberly?
What a great presentation, Dylan.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're making really great progress, and again, you're doing it at rocket pace. So we have a lot of people in the audience that are going to share their science and their innovation today and later today. What's the one bit of advice that you would give? I mean, you're a senior. You've got lots going on. You're going to raise another $1 million in another month, which, you know, what are you doing standing on the stage? There's a lot going on here, right? And so how do you do what you do? And if you were going to give advice on what's the next step from these interesting experiments or capstone posters, what would that be?
Yeah, wait, raise your hand if you're an undergraduate student with a capstone presenting here. And keep your hand raised if you're considering maybe starting a company with it. What? Come on, guys. Look, being in college, don't listen to anyone else, listen to me. That is the best time to start a company. I don't have any kids. I don't have any pets. I don't have any dependents. I have my entire 20s to focus on this company and getting us off the ground, getting us exited, and nothing else. I was going to dedicate that time to med school, but this is slightly better for me. You have an incredible opportunity being here at this school and having a brilliant idea that's good enough to have a poster about. If there is any commercial application, I literally beg you to look into starting a company, because you will never have the resources and the support that you can have here as a student. A lot of that is through the Tulane Innovation Institute. A lot of that is just by talking to your professors. A lot of that is just the investment community that exists in New Orleans. It is one of the friendliest investor communities I've ever met, although granted my only points of comparison are like New York, San Francisco, and Chicago. But still, New Orleans wants you to succeed, Tulane wants you to succeed, and even though it might not feel like it, you have the time and the freedom to do it now. So my advice would be, just do it. Do it, try it. See if you win a pitch competition. It's gonna feel great.
What a great way to end. Thank you so much, Dylan.